Good morning, everybody. Today we are back in the Dordogne department and we are crossing this beautiful village of Montferrand du Périgord. There is a very old castle to my right, and you know what I like in the south is that you take your car, you drive at random, and on one of these millions of back roads, wherever you go, you find something interesting, a beautiful village, a beautiful place, a castle, a cave, whatever. And this is exactly what happened to me first time I crossed the main street of Montferrand 30 years ago with my friend Liza. Once we crossed the village, I will show you. And yes, this is the crossroad. You can see nice little monument, a cross in the middle. And we decided to turn to the right. And soon, after the next house, we discovered the little church of Saint-Christophe de Montferrand, and this is what we discovered, this small bell tower. It's a nice little Romanesque church dating back at least from the 12th century, although there are some sections of the walls that are older. I will show you that soon. So it was the parish church of a former village of Montferrand. According to the legend, we don't know why, but in the middle of the Middle Ages, the inhabitants decided to build a new village closer to the chateau. But this church remained active, and you see that it is still surrounded by the cemetery, which was not at all abandoned. So the church originally was longer. I mean, the nave was longer, it was a little higher, and you see that some sections are very old, as witness this particular wall, this stone setting. We call it in Latin opus spicatum, in other words fishbone masonry, which usually is a sign of very old age. But the church, of course, is well known for the quality of its murals inside. Let's go and see that. There are paintings everywhere, including this beautiful vault. Of course, some paintings are in very bad conditions, but some are quite interesting, particularly this one, which dates back to the beginning of the 13th century, and it is easy to understand what it does represent. Since it is, there are some informations that are written. You can read Leonardus. Leonardus is this big person dressed in red. By the way, those red dots are not the eyes, but the cheekbones. If you carefully watch, you can see that the eyes, which were in black, are almost effaced now. So this yellow angel shows the name of Leonardus. Another one is pointing at what is happening in this part of the representation. So who is Leonardus? Leonard of Noblat, Saint Léonard de Noblat. He was an hermit in the time of King Clovis, the Frankish king, and it happened that the Queen Clotilde had some difficulties to deliver, and Clovis asked Leonard to help, which he did in praying, and everything went well. And after the birth, Clovis asked Leonard, "What do you want as a reward?" And Leonard asked to be allowed to free every year some prisoners. And this is what is represented right in front of me. You see here this small person. By the way, you see that his shaved head is kind of praying, or perhaps Leonardus is freeing him from his chains. By the other side, you see another shaved-headed person. You see here kind of a small rope. Maybe he's going to be freed by Leonard. And to the right, you see what is looking like because at the panels of a door, probably the jail gate where those two prisoners were kept. But the most interesting for me is inside, on the intrados of this arch, you discover a face. According to the specialists, it is God's face who is looking at what is happening, this liberation, but actually I prefer the legend. And this legend goes that this is the lady of the castle of Montferrand. Actually, she was the wife of the Lord of the Montferrand. He was a knight, and while he was fighting in the Crusades against the Turks, he was captured and spent several years in jail. After a while, he was freed thanks to the prayers of his wife and the intercession of Leonard. So this representation would be a kind of ex voto. The lady of the castle paid for the painting in order to represent symbolically the liberation of her own husband. It is an ex voto. Her wish was granted, and she said thank you to Leonard and God, of course. So now, above me, in the middle of the vault, you see Christ in majesty. He's sitting on a massive armchair. He's dressed in the purple color of emperors. He's blessing with the sign of Trinity, and in the other hand he has a globe topped by a cross. So be careful, it's not a mistake of the artist, because he was lacking of room, painting the feet of Christ on the vertical wall. Oops, sorry, I did not calculate well. No, it's the way to show that Christ belonged to heaven and he's also belonging to this earthly world. So framing this Christ, there is another well-known theme. We call it the tetramorph, representing the four evangelists under their conventional shape. So if you watch right here, it's a little difficult, but there are some feathers left. The rest was washed by water leaks. it is the eagle of Saint John. To my left, in much better condition, you see the bull of Saint Luke, the winged bull. Actually, here it's a vil, it is written, Vitellus Lucas Luchas. And by the other side, you find the winged lion of Saint Marcus. It is Marc in French, it is written. And beside, to the left, a representation of an angel. The angel is the conventional symbol of Matthew. And there is another incredible representation which helps to represent Christ as a cosmocrator. It is right here, a beautiful sun with undulating flames and straight sun rays, representing, of course, the day. And this is my favorite here, a representation of the moon, a face in its crescent. You see that the colors, of course, are different, and it is representing moon. And all that is painted on a background of plenty of little orange or red stars that are supposed to represent the cosmos. Something else is found in the back wall. To the left, you see a young blonde woman. She's reading on a kind of reading desk. To my left is an empty vase. Maybe there was a white flower inside. It is a representation of virginity, since it is Mary the Virgin. The angel beside is the Archangel Gabriel, and it is the very well-known scene of announcement when, thanks to those scrolls, phylactères in French, he's announcing her that she's going to conceive and give birth to Emmanuel, to Christ. And this time, to my right, is another very well-known representation. You see a kind of tall, bearded guy. According to the golden legend, he was 7.5 feet tall, and he's carrying a small boy on his shoulders. He's also resting on a big staff. And this is, of course, Saint Christopher. Saint Christopher is often represented in this kind of church, who was the saint protector of the travelers and the pilgrims, because people were very afraid to die en route on their way to a pilgrimage without receiving the last sacraments. So they had to be under the protection of a particular saint. It was Christopher. So what is the story of Saint Christopher? The story goes that Christopher, his job was to assist people in crossing a dangerous river. And that was his job since years, when one day a small boy asked him to carry him to the other bank of the river, which Christopher did, took the boy on his shoulders, but while crossing the river, the body of this small boy became extremely heavy, so heavy that he was about to give up when eventually he reached the other bank of this dangerous river. And he asked the boy, "How is it that your body is so heavy?" And the boy answered to Christopher, "Christopher, you did not recognize me? I am Christ, and you helped me for a short while to carry me and the world. And Christopher, if you don't believe me, the big staff that helps you to cross the river, drive it in the ground." And as soon as this staff was planted in the ground, there were plenty of buds appearing, and it was transformed into a tree. So this is the story of Saint Christopher. You will also notice that above the representation of Mary and Gabriel, and above Christ and Christopher, there are these kind of triangular shapes, kind of mushroom hat shapes. They are kind of canopies, we call them days. It's a way of showing some respect to the persons who are represented underneath. So there are more paintings. I cannot show them all, but for example here you see two representations that are superimposed. To the left it's the older, the Romanesque painting, 12th century, when the other one dates back to the 15th century, but both are representing the same theme, which is the Last Supper. So it's a miracle that this church is still open. It is in very good condition, so I have to thank all the people who take care of the church. Thank you, really thank you. And well, I hope that everybody will take care of the church. I can tell you that if you do not respect it, here is what is going to happen to you. This last painting, which is representing, you see it, big mouth, widely opened. It's a monster. Actually, it is a Leviathan. In other words, a representation of hell. And well, it's difficult to see, but some sinners are kind of pushed inside the mouth. This representation actually is only a section of a much longer one, which name in French is La Cavalcade des Vices, the cavalcade of vices, which is representing the 7 main sins. It's quite a common representation in the 15th and 16th century. Soon we shall see some beautiful cavalcade des vices, but let's leave that for another day.